was saying the other night, the shark. They were saying, oh, sharks, we have to protect them. I said, wait a minute, wait. Well, I'm not a big fan of sharks either. It's never fun to save the shark. It's called Save the Shark. I said, no, thank you. I have other things I can contribute to.
Welcome to BedRoom Banter
with Dusty and all
BedRoom Banter
and Mike.
You seem to get 14 days older, like a weed in the wind. They all seem to grow more when you can't tuck them in. Months on our shoulders and time wearing thin. I just hope to hold you for another weekend. It's easy for some to give up, and it's not fair. For just 6 days a month, I'm holding my breath till you get here. And I think of me and you. Divide how I love you by 2. On nights when you can't get to sleep, multiply my love by 3. Been saving my bear hugs and all goodnight kisses in a place you can't miss in case I come up missing. And it's okay to blame me when you hurt. I'll be the scars. How else could an angel heal a broken heart? Your toys are put up, your clothes are all washed and clean. I miss you so much, and there's no place I'd rather be. When you think of me and you, divide how I love you by 2. And on nights when you can't get to sleep, multiply my love by 3. And I'll see you in your dreams when you think of me. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. Got me a little bit.
That song is available for download. That is an original we wrote called When You Think of Me. You can find it on iTunes, on CD Baby, on all kinds of good stuff.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to Bedroom Banter. Oh, sound like you lost your bois.
Hey, boy. You even boy, bro?
Lost your bois.
Tonight's episode is about communism and its two-headed monster.
That just sounds nasty.
Yeah. Liberalism and socialism. And then communism running the show. I picked this song because this is a song for our children. We don't get to spend as much time as we'd like to with them, unfortunately. And so whenever we're gone, I want to know that we're leaving them with the best world we could possibly leave them with.
Shut up. I'm crying again.
So I encourage everyone to go vote, and to go vote hard, and to go vote with passion and patriotism in your heart, because we're not the only ones that matter. It's the ones we leave back when we leave back, and ones that we hand this down to. So
Yes.
we are in a war, folks. Communism is alive and well today, as well as it's ever been. What was the phrase, the generational phrase that
Reagan, he said, we are always only one generation away from becoming a socialist or communist country.
you see what happens is our kids will grow up not knowing what communism it was like we did. We didn't grow up with that. We grew up in the Reagan years and maybe before. And so we didn't ever have to experience what that was like. And so they just waited, and then they just gave it a different name. And it's been this way. It's been a plan all along. And back in the 60s, they knew this very well. Like what's his name said at the RNC, it's not radical leftism. It sounds familiar because it's exactly what communism is. And in 1967, I want to show you a clip here, and everyone has to watch this. Everyone needs to watch this. If you've forgotten or didn't grow up in a communist environment, watch this, because this is what's happening in our world today.
The communists declared that the racial differences among our people constituted the weakest and most vulnerable point in our social fabric. By constantly probing and straining at this one spot, they calculated that eventually the cloth could be torn apart, and that Americans could be divided, weakened, and perhaps even set against each other in open combat. Here is a book that I think ought to be in every home library. It's entitled Color, Communism, and Common Sense by Manning Johnson. He joined the party as a young man because he honestly believed that the communists were trying to improve the conditions of his people. He was a dedicated communist, and eventually he rose to one of the highest ranks. But after many years, he discovered that instead they were merely planning to use his people in a bloody revolution to destroy America. And when he woke up to this, he dropped out of the party and devoted the rest of his life trying to alert his fellow citizens of all races to the true nature of the Communist Party as he knew it to be from the inside. Armed workers seize the principal government offices, invade the residences of the president and his cabinet members, arrest them, declare the old regime abolished, establish their own power. Now, here is a piece of vicious communist propaganda that perhaps some of you have seen. It's called The Crusader. In this issue of The Crusader, the communists call not only for extensive chaos within the cities, but for putting to the torch every village, every forest, every field, and every barn. The plan is for raging fires from one city to the next. The reason? Well, first, there's the value of sheer destruction. Secondly, it would force us to deploy our defenses and rescue units over the widest possible area. The communists point out that as long as our police and National Guard remain concentrated, they're invincible. But if they can be forced to spread out over the entire city and into the countryside as well, then they can be picked off from ambush one by one. And the third value of massive fire to the communists is psychological. The average American, they say, soft and decadent, when he sees billows of black smoke rising from one horizon to the other, when at night the only light he has to see by is the flickering red from flames leaping into the sky, he'll become paralyzed with fear and panic. He'll run away and hide and do nothing to interfere with the guerrilla bands as they strike at the community's power centers. It even calls for infiltration into the National Guard units. Revolutionaries posing as non-militants for the purpose of getting free military training and for gaining access to critical military supplies and heavy weapons. Any all-out minority revolution must create a state of crisis wherein almost all of the male population would be forced to remain in their homes to protect their property and families. The middle class is very large, but it is not accustomed to deprivation and terror. Because of its affluence, it has waxed soft. It has no stomach for massive fire, blood, and violence. A few years of violent, sporadic, and highly destructive uprisings will set the stage for the grand finale. The public is to be pressured into accepting measures that will move the country gradually and legally toward communism, but without calling it that. The strategy of the proletarian revolution calls for the quiet conversion of our government into a communist regime, but under the banner of socialism. Well, what is socialism? All right, let's define it. According to the dictionary, socialism is a political concept based upon the principle of government ownership and control of property, the means of production, and the avenues of commerce. Under socialism, those who run the government, and the communists are confident that in America they eventually will be the ones who do so, those who run the government will know who is to get something and who has to wait, and that represents control over human beings. What has all this to do with the communist revolution in America? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has everything to do with it, because the building of socialism is the communist revolution in America.
So you see, in 1967, they were saying communism is disguised as liberalism and socialism. Bernie Sanders, you're a socialist? No, you're a communist. AOC is a communist. Nancy Pelosi is a communist. Mr. Biden, communist. Barack Obama, Clinton, Bush,
Cuomo,
communist.
Did you see
Here's
the
what
clip?
happened. Yeah,
Did
we
you see
saw
what
the
he was
clip.
doing? If you don't abide by the rules and regulations they have for opening churches, then they'll shut you down.
First Amendment right is the government cannot impede on a person's ability to practice their faith. So that means the very first one. So
Yeah, so Cuomo, you're a
that's
communist.
what they're trying to do. They are infiltrating, and this is what really happened. And it dawned on me right before we started doing this video. I was a born Democrat. My parents are Democrats, and that's just what I knew. And that's all well and good. Here's what happened, though. In 1963, a real Democrat was murdered, and they replaced all Democratism with this socialism, liberalism, progressive
the
movement.
far left radical.
Yeah. There hasn't been a single Democrat in this country, minus a few that are coming up now today.
Yeah, they're walking
That's a
out.
real Democrat. They're all communist, and they're all part of the same deal. That's why Joe Biden has handlers. That's why he can't ever think for himself. That's why he's got people in his ear telling him what to do. That's why he's going to listen to the scientists.
They have a plan.
Because it's all part of the plan. And we have to stop it, or we're not going to have any of this beautiful music to leave our children.
Everything that they're doing in that video is everything that Antifa is doing on the streets of America
you just
right
saw
now.
it. You just saw it. They said they were going to burn down the cities. They were going to tear down statues, delete history as we know it. It's all a plan to destroy this country, and we can't let it happen.
Every American needs to see this video, so feel free to share our video with our clip in there. We would sure appreciate the support for our show, but most importantly,
Everyone needs to see
this
knew
so
it.
we don't end up where they want us to go.
Yeah, they knew it back in the 60s, and we need to let our kids know it today.
Yeah.
So, what do we got, Johnny?
We have t-shirts for sale on our Teespring store, teespring.com/stores/bedroom banner. Go in there and pick up a shirt, and you'll support us here and what we do at Bedroom Banner. And also, we have a Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal if you'd like to make a donation to the show. We're starving artists, like for real. And part of that whole communism thing was to X out the arts, and that's why we feel so targeted. We're all quarantined like everybody else. We're all not able to go back to our businesses that we would perform our music in because they're still shut down. Greg Abbott, you better have some good news for us, mister. Whew.
What day is it?
It's a great day to whip somebody's butt. That's what it is. Today is Tuesday, October the 6th of 2020. Y'all watch out. Mama Bear gets all crazy up in here sometimes.
Not the old Loretta May Johnson.
Don't get Loretta May. Don't get me going. Ciao. God bless every American that fights to keep our great country a free and sovereign nation. God bless patriots worldwide. And God bless the USA. If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today. 'Cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave their right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, from New York to LA. Oh, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave their right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave their right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
One day, no one will have to be anonymous. We don't hate, we don't discriminate, and we don't riot in the streets. If we're not all there,
There's not one there. Good night, y'all.
I did it right.